Meanwhile, back at Polt's side of the map, he's got a Thor out to help counter those mutalisks, and there are a couple of medevacs just about done. Mutalist still hanging out here, harassing what he can, doing a nice little bit of micro back and forth, just like in Brood War, but he's going to have to pull back because these forces here are not going to turn around and come back and stop them, but we'll have to see where he goes. He might actually head across to one of these expansions that Moonglade has set up, and we'll see where he goes. We've got some mutalisks to defend, and we do have some banelings morphing in as well, so we're going to see some baneling action here from Moonglade. Can he actually roll in and actually stop these guys from taking out this expansion? I am not sure. There are certainly a lot of marines there, which will help against the banelings if he can micro them correctly. And he takes out another creep tumor. This is one thing which Polt has been doing nicely, is actually taking out some of the creep tumors. Here they come, the Zerglings coming around their back to actually try and surround the marine forces. Bam! They all go down. The banelings clean up a lot of the marines. We only have a few marines here left over, along with the ones that actually survived across to the side, but that gets cleaned up quite efficiently by Moonglade, and he does succeed in protecting the expansion. I think there were maybe a couple of drone kills, and that was about it. And we'll see Polt try something else, I would suspect. So we'll see what happens. We've got some Zerglings and Mutas coming across the map here. They're just going to check out what is happening over here at Polt's side of the map, and we'll see where they go. It looks as if they are going to go up here to the 10 o'clock expansion and lay down some harass here. There are a few turrets here. I would not use those mutalisks in there, but the mutalisks clean up the turrets. In fact, the Zerglings are going to clean up these turrets here, and the mutalisks come in here to try and harass some of these SCVs. Some marines are coming in to defend, and it looks as if they'll push those marines, mutalisks and Zerglings out of the base here. So just some harass, trying to keep map control here from Moonglade. He's doing a nice job of that. He now has his 4th expansion up and running. He's just trying to stay ahead. Just trying to keep one base ahead, because as a Zerg, you do want to try and keep one base ahead of your opponent. If you're against a Protoss or a Terran, you always want to stay one base ahead, just given that you need the extra production from the extra lava from the bases, not to mention the actual income, given that you have to mass up a lot of units to actually counter what your opponent is doing. And we actually have a whole heap of mutalisks here just harassing. We've got, what's that? We've got 13 mutalisks just hanging out here harassing some of the supply depots. I think he might just be trying to keep some pressure here and keep Polt's forces inside his base, but it looks as if Polt has actually transitioned into a very mech heavy play. He's got 5 tanks out in this group and a bunch of marines and a Thor, a couple of medevacs coming down to support as well, and he has a couple more racks on the way. So these racks actually are really good, because they serve 2 purposes. Obviously the obvious fact is that you can build some more units out of these, but another factor is that normally when players will try and come in and harass a planetary fortress, they'll either use some mutalisks to come in and harass, or perhaps some broodlings from range from brood lords. But we've got some turrets to protect the air, and so realistically, if Moonglade wants to attack, you'll have to come in here and just get around that. But meanwhile, just back at the base here, mutalisks came in and actually attacked. I think there was a turret here and some SCVs, so these mutalisks are doing quite nicely. We've got a couple in the red, but they do have a few kills each. We've got a couple with 5, we've got one with 6 here. He's a slayer, and a few others with 1. But just quickly back on this point here, we've got the barracks here actually covering one side of the planetary fortress, so that actually reduces a lot of the surface area. So if any Ultralisks or Zerglings come along and want to try and have a shot at the planetary fortress, there's actually a lot less room for them to come in and harass. And it looks as if Moonglade is massing up his mutalisks. They are going to come in. The turrets, I think, would not stop any of this actual force, and they're going to come in here, clean up the refinery. They might have a shot at this orbital command, and it is going to go down. There are just so many mutalisks here, not to mention they actually have the +2 upgrade. They are doing 11 damage, and then that obviously, I'm pretty sure that's the same as it was in Brood War, where that actually cuts down per bounce. But we have a very heavy tank and marine force coming in here. It looks as if Polt's going to try and just cut a little path across here with his tanks to actually make sure that he cannot get cut down by all those banelings that he did before. And it looks as if Moonglade's going to have to cancel this hatchery that was building. He's got this one here, which may be sacrificed here, given that he has no way that he's going to get through here to protect it. He does have, he's got Baneling speed, and he's got his mutas here as well, so there is definitely a lot of forces here for Moonglade to counter-attack with, or just defend in general. We've got the tanks here cleaning up all of those Zerglings. He doesn't actually have the +1 to ground. He does actually have it, sorry. He does have +1 to ground armor. Some free tanks here at the front from PoltPrime there, just undefended, and these Marines are not going to be able to hold off the Mutalisks while they attack, not to mention some of the Marines are actually up here at the expansion. They're probably going to clean this up, I would suspect. The hatchery is probably going to go down there, but I think Moonglade is actually gearing up to attack here. He's just gripping up all of his units properly. He's going to come across and sweep through, clean up some of these tanks, and I think we're going to see these Zerglings and Banelings actually come across. Meanwhile, this secondary Marine force comes in here to clean up the expansion at the 5 o'clock. It takes out one of the queens, blood going everywhere from that queen, and the extractor, sorry, goes down. Looks as if Moonglade actually spotted a command center on the way to the gold here. He takes that out. Beautiful work there by Moonglade. He is doing some really great map control, and as we said just before, he's not overcommitting to his defenses or just overreacting in terms of how he is actually defending his bases, and it looks as if this planetary fortress may go down. It depends on how these Thors come in to defend. They have actually come in, but they are way too late. SCVs die, and the planetary fortress dies as well. So we actually have a very, very bad position here for PoltPrime. He's got a very hefty part of his forces have sort of sieged up in a line along here. They're denying this expansion here, and also this one here. So he's going to need to try and actually, I think PoltPrime actually sort of needs to cut in here and stop this gold from mining as well, because you do not want to let the Zerg hold that gold expansion while you're sort of just sitting out here on 3 bases. And it looks as if Polt's going to get some more anti-air forces here, along with obviously some Marines to counter some of the lower tier units that Moonglade has. And it looks as if Moonglade might have actually spotted this force coming through, and he's going to prepare to cut it off or perhaps intercept and kill everything, and Moonglade has seen it, so he's going to retreat. This is once again a really bad position for PoltPrime, because he is stuck here with these forces down here. They realistically have no way out, because if the tanks actually unsiege and try and move across, and it looks as if that's what he's going to do, the tanks sort of just moving around, resieging their positions, just perhaps trying to get some more cover from their anti-air forces. But it looks as if there are so many Mutalisks here. We actually have a total of 40 Mutalisks here in this pack, and there's actually a couple here left over that didn't get integrated into the pack. And these tanks are probably, I think this whole force is going to die. We have a lot of Banelings here. The Marines come across to try and bait the Banelings, but there are so many Banelings. Huge attack there by Moonglade. He actually cleans up everything that was there. These 40 Mutalisks, he only lost like 6 of those Mutalisks there, and the more Banelings just coming across here. That is the end of it. Some magic box action going on here from Moonglade with his Mutalisks, and he cleans up the rest of these Thors, and I think that is the sweet kiss goodnight from Moonglade. He sends in the Mutalisks and cleans up everything there, and it looks as if we're just going to have some Zerglings rolling in swarm style into the expansions. I think he's going to go for this one here at the 10 o'clock. There's some fantastic map play and positional play by Moonglade. He has done really well. He's just checking this expansion here at the that's 8 o'clock. I can't remember what the clock looks like. And he's going to, he's just done some really great map control in terms of cutting off these forces that were here, denying these forces that were attempting to come down and help out. And it looks as if these mutas are going to keep map control, of course, given that there is now just about nothing that PoltPrime can do. He's in a really bad spot now. We got one Zergling just coming in to see what he's going up in this base. He comes in, says hi to the SCVs, going to have a whack at one of them, and the Mutalisks come in to clean up everything, and I suspect that would just be about it, because he's definitely going to lose this planetary fortress, because there is nothing left. PoltPrime is trying to counter down here. Marines, coming in, trying to take out the gold, but that is definitely going to be it, because now PoltPrime is currently sitting on these minerals here at his natural expansion from the start of the game, and that is it. The tanks have sieged up. This is the last hurrah for PoltPrime. He has been faced against the Terra from Australia, Moonglade, and he has been just majorly overwhelmed. Moonglade actually sending in his drones here. That is a GG from PoltPrime. A fantastic game from Moonglade, just keeping, as we said, a lot of map control. He expanded here across to these expansions and just did not overreact. He was in a bit of a tight spot when these siege tanks came across and denied the 4th and 5th expos, but he just kept his cool, kept the Mutalisk count up to make sure the tanks did not get out of control, and then just rolled in with a whole bunch of Banelings and Zerglings and cleaned up all of the forces that PoltPrime had around the map. So I've got another replay from Moonglade, so make sure you jump on and have a look at that one. If you have any feedback, comments, anything like that, make sure you leave the feedback for me. We'll have a look and I'll do my best to reply straight away. And please make sure you subscribe as well. Thanks very much, guys. Cheers.